The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, Canesport. It's September the 7th, 2023. I'm Gary Furman, the publisher of Canesport.com, joined once again by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day, presented once again by GameTime.co, your headquarters for all of your last-minute sporting event ticket purchases, entertainment event ticket purchases. GameTime.co knows how to take care of you. We'll talk a little bit more about them a little later on. But, Matt, I wanted to start off today. All week, the theme is Matt Shodell in the lab, watching film morning, afternoon, and night, emerging only for enough time to type a few things up and then get back in the lab and watch some more film. And today we have an interesting subject for everybody, how the Texas A&M offense will present a challenge for Miami and why it's on Lance Guidry to stop it. That's the headline. Obviously, we want people to read the story. So without giving the entire story away, because we still want people to be able to go enjoy your fine work this morning and into the afternoon, what's Lance Guidry got to do to stop this Texas A&M offense?
Well, as much as Lance Guidry does on defense, that's unconventional. Bobby Petrino does a little bit of everything on offense. Conventionally, I mean, there's nothing crazy that he does. It's not a triple option, for instance, right? But he'll spread you out. He'll go power. He'll he'll throw to the running backs. He'll have quarterback designed runs. He'll have, obviously, the quarterback's mobile enough where he could scramble away from trouble also. And he's got great receivers. So, we'll break down the opposite side, the Miami offense against the Texas A&M defense, which I think is a more favorable matchup for Miami. But when you look at some of the clips that we put up in the story today and the areas that we paid particular focus to, one was Connor Wigman's escapability. Another was the chess match between Petrino and Guidry, and then we show how Petrino did it just against New Mexico, all these different ways that he ran and lined up and what he did. I mean, he'll go from 2 tight ends to spreading out wide. He'll have a fullback sometimes. He'll do all sorts of different stuff. So it'll be really interesting to see if Lance Guidry tries to dictate to Petrino what Petrino can do and sort of try to pigeonhole him into just doing a couple of things versus having to react to everything Petrino is doing, But yeah, Lance Guidry's got his work cut out. It's going to be really interesting to see. I mean, that's going to be the most interesting aspect of the game to me, because if Lance Guidry can outmaneuver and checkmate, so to speak, Bobby Petrino, Miami's going to win this game. But if Lance Guidry has no answers, it's going to be a big problem. And then you get in a shootout potentially if Miami can score a lot of points, which I think Miami will score over 28 points, probably over 30 points in this game, just when you look at the tape of the two teams. But it may not be enough if Lance Guidry's not doing his things successfully. And then, you have to worry about the Miami cornerbacks holding up, because we have some clips of the receivers. The receivers had 6 touchdown catches in the game, 5 from Wegman, and I think 1 from Max Johnson, the backup, who everybody knows from his Mark Richt ties. So, it's going to be not easy. It's going to be not easy. And I don't know, when you watch this, you can see there's just no real like, oh yeah, we'll stop that. Oh yeah, we'll stop this. It's a lot. I mean, I'm not going to read the story to people. It's a long story, but there's a lot that they showed just in the opener, just in the one game against a totally overmatched team. Texas A&M just basically threw so much stuff out there, and Lance Guidry's got to just absorb it all and spit it back out, And I mean, there was a really interesting story yesterday. I was an English and classics double major in college, and there was this there was a story that these Roman swords were discovered in a Dead Sea cave 1900 years ago. These Jews came along and apparently mugged some Romans and stole their swords, and for whatever reason decided to just stow them in a cave and never came back for them, And to me, it's whoever can, take that sword, the King Arthur thing, right? Take the sword out and do the death blow. That's what it's going to take in this game to win it. It's not going to be this finesse. There's not going to be finesse. It's not going to be, just running around and whatever. This is going to be an insane, physical Romans versus the Jews from 1900 years ago battle. I don't know which ones are the Romans. I don't know which ones are the Jews. I'm not going to tell you which side I would have rooted for 1900 years ago. I think people probably know. But like, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a war. This is a war. Like, people don't understand how these physical games they play out. I mean, you start to hate the people on the Miami side and the people on the Texas A&M side. By the time that third quarter rolls around, they will hate each other. Like, if they just happen to see each other in a restaurant, they would probably attack each other, you know, at that point. Because it's like, you've put everything. Every one of these players at Miami and every one of these players at Texas A&M, I assume, have put all their being into this game for the last 9 months. Not spending time with families, not spending time with significant others, not doing as much homework as you should do. You know, from whatever you want it to be, you know, not eating the foods you want to eat, right? The pain of the workouts. I mean, for those of you that watch that crazy, whatever, swamp, you know, Netflix special, I mean, you saw, like, literally, there was a clip of this team leader who, when a freshman showed up late for a practice and then kept putting his feet down when they were doing these abdominal drills, when you put your feet down in their drills, you have to start over. He told the freshman, he said, "You do it again, I'm going to punch you in the face." The freshman did it again, and the guy literally says on video that he assaulted this kid. He said he punched him in the face. Like, he punched him in the face in the middle of the workout. He admitted on Netflix that he committed an egregious assault and should be in jail. But in football, they applaud that. You know, the coaches were like, "Good for you. Excellent punch in the face. Good for you. Well done, sir. Well done, sir." Like, these are the crazy people that are on the football field trying to kill each other in a game. Nicest guys in the world off the field. But when it's time to work out, when it's time to be in a game, it's Romans versus Jews 1900 years ago. And like, whoever has that sword out, they'll chop the other person's head off, man. And like, it's going to be crazy, and I can't wait to see it. And I don't understand why it's not sold out. I don't understand why only, you know, why they have thousands of tickets left and trying to
tell you why it's not sold out. They raised the ticket prices. Yeah, they charge people $60 to park. People's grocery bills have doubled in the last year. People are spending more money on cars. They're spending more money on their homes. They have to make spending decisions. And Miami upped the ante with all their price increases. Plus, they've had an essential media blackout almost the entire offseason, with the exception of a couple things during spring practice. And this team is not in the forefront of people's minds when you put it all together. So that's why they're struggling to sell tickets. Hopefully people get in gear here, and there's a good home field advantage on Saturday. But look, we'll let people read the story, but one of your categories is that Miami must counter Connor Wegman's accuracy and escapability. And you know, I do the You Bet Canesport show with Lee Sterling, who like breaks down the tape with even more intensity than you do, obviously. And one of the things he told me was, well, he's like, people are putting their money on the line based on what he says. And, you know, he's got to really know these teams inside and out. And what he told me was that Miami needs to go after Wegman up the middle, that this kid loves to step up in the pocket if he's pressured from the outside, but that if you take away his step up, he's not comfortable. And you get him moving laterally left to right. That's the way you attack Connor Wegman. So it'll be interesting to see if Lance Guidry saw the same thing when he looked at tape. But you saw some things. You came away with the opinion that Miami has to counter his accuracy and escapability. Tell us a little bit about how you think they should do that.
Well, you know, it's a great point because the clip that we actually have, not even knowing what, you know, your You Bet buddy, who apparently knows film way better than anybody else in the world, because people bet based on what he says. And he watched
the opener twice, not once, twice.
He did what?
He watched Texas A&M's opener twice, so that he could really and he walked away saying, "Take Miami in the points."
I mean, I read a report that it's because the first time he watched it, he didn't understand what he was watching. That's why I heard I watched it the second time, but that's just a report I read. I don't know if it's accurate or not. It was in The Athletic. I'm sure it was fake. So anyway, that's only because I'm friends with Manny Navarro. So anyway, yeah, so I agree with him. Like the clip you watch of Wegman escaping, he clearly wants to pass. He's not a running quarterback, okay? He's a pass-first quarterback. And he does like to step and plant and throw, which of course, you know, you're stepping forward. Like that's how you throw. He's not a rollout, move the pocket guy. He's an in the pocket passer, really good accuracy, likes to get balls out quick when he can. And when the pocket breaks down, he's got his eyes downfield. So yeah, He's not a guy who moves laterally. He's a guy who's going to move straight up the middle, which is why Miami's going to probably have a spy, a middle linebacker, a defensive end dropping, whatever craziness Lance Guidry wants to do, they need somebody in the middle who stays there and doesn't rush. But, that's part of the problem too, because now at the same time, how do you get that extra pressure? Because as we saw last game, Lance Guidry rushed 3, 10% of the time. He rushed 4, 40% of the time. He doesn't love to rush 5 and 6. What he'll do is he'll look like he's going to do an all-out blitz and then back off it at the snap. And he does that 70% of the time, whatever it was, the numbers from yesterday, where you have these guys at the line and they just run backwards, sprint backwards as fast as they can with their back to the quarterback for a good second before they turn around in their zone to see what's going on. That can be taken advantage of, which I'm sure is something that Bobby Petrino is looking at, and it's probably, he's seen this stuff before. He's not reinventing the wheel, like for those of you that remember, the Buddy Ryan defense is, somewhat similar to that. We're going to have 6, 7 guys in the box a lot, not 8 that much, but 6, 7 guys in the box a lot of pre-snap movement, a lot of stunting, a lot of, weird things. We're like moving the left end all the way around to the right side of the line after the snap to try and get a double team on the left tackle, things like that, which they did twice in the game last week. He's going to have innovative things like that where he's going to try to get pressure. And my guess is he's going to try to do a lot of twists up the middle with the ends, because you're right. That's a great way to get in the quarterback's face and bother him. And, the funniest thing to me was, these Miami players, I asked Cam Kinchins yesterday, I'm like, Cam, I know every game's the same and, every opponent's just as good as the other opponent, but is there anything at all special about this game? And Cam's like, no, just another game. And then Branson Dean comes up in front of the media, and I don't remember who asked him. Somebody asked him, about Connor Wegman, and Dean's like, we need to hit him, which was such a breath of fresh air, because of course you need to hit him, but like Miami players they don't like to say it. And I know people on the YouTube boards think that I'm bitter because players don't say anything anymore, coaches don't say anything anymore. I actually find it very funny how they try to almost twist themselves into knots to not say anything. I actually thoroughly enjoy it, and it makes me want to ask these questions even more. I think I asked Cam. I'm like, I was trying to get him to say they were going to win the game. At one point, one of my questions, and he wouldn't say it. He wouldn't say we're going to win the game. So I didn't just come out and say, do you think you're going to win the game? But I can't remember how I phrased it. But it was clear from my question. And I know Cam very well from recruiting and all this other stuff I see him at. But, it's just kind of funny how they've been trained by the intrepid staff down there at UM. And just as an aside, I mean, it's nothing new, but they actually do training for freshmen with the sports information staff not to tell them, how to share their amazing stories with the media and how to tell the media about whatever obstacles they had growing up, or about a family member who's whatever, or their favorite activity is horseback riding, whatever. Like, no, they meet with these players and they give them a list of things they can't say. And they do sample interviews, to make sure they don't say things that they're not supposed to say. They don't care what they say, as long as it's not the stuff that's going to rile up another locker room, Yeah. And to me, I find it funny because, my son's doing communications in graduate school. You do PR all the time. That's like your side gig, if you want to call it a side gig, And so there are so many great stories, and it's such great publicity for you do PGA Tour stuff. It's such great publicity for this UM team, because these players are fantastic stories. I mean, we do a lot of these fantastic stories in recruiting, for instance, like Lou Headley, right? We wrote about Lou Headley when before he was coming here. I was a construction worker. He was 28 years old. He, the crazy path he had. And then just like 3 days ago, I see the exact same story that I basically wrote, 4 or 5 years ago on Yahoo Sports, with some New Orleans reporter writing the exact same story, but now it's national news. But these are the stories that were never told when he was at Miami, by the way. At Miami, it was just tattoos. Tell us about your tattoos, because nobody got a chance to really sit down with him and write that story. But how great is that story? How much would fans have loved, because if you're not recruiting, if you don't follow recruiting that closely, if you're just an average fan who reads a newspaper or sees a story once in a while on national websites, that's a great story, and that's great publicity for the University of Miami. And there are so many amazing stories, and I feel bad for people out there who think we're bitter. I'm bitter because you guys aren't getting these amazing stories that I know are there that we just can't tell. That's all. And when I say bitter, it doesn't affect my coverage of the team.
Oh, it's a huge mistake.
I'm a data-driven guy. You know, I think Miami has a 50-50 chance to win this game. I said I'd make the point spread even, not plus 4.5 on the Miami side. And like, you know, that's not a negative take at all, but that's just the way I am. I look at the data, I look at the film, I look at these programs, and there's no reason Miami cannot win this game. And I think Miami should win this game at home. You know, but it's on Lance Guidry, and that's what's on the site today. Like, Lance Guidry has to come through with his scheme. Like, it has to work. If it doesn't work, Miami's going to have to score 38-plus points, and that's just a tall order. You know, it's just a tall order period for an offense that was terrible last year, and that's going to be a lot better. But, you know, is it going to be 40 points better, like in a blink?
Well, we're going to see. But, all right, so we have the story on the website. You guys can check it out, how the Texas A&M offense presents a challenge for the Canes and what Lance Guidry has to do to stop it. We got a couple other football things for you guys to digest this morning. We got that story that Matt just spoke about with Branson Dean, who says that he knows what it's going to take to beat Texas A&M. He knows what his boss, Lance Guidry, has to do. That's make the quarterback uncomfortable. And that goes along the lines of what we've been talking about. What Lee Sterling tells me on this week's You Bet Canesport show, that they have to make the quarterback uncomfortable. And you get different viewpoints. Obviously, Lee thinks the way to do that is come at him up the middle. We'll find out on Saturday what Lance Guidry thinks. We also have a story with Francisco Mayagoa, who talks about how excited that he is for the Texas A&M Challenge, and how much he likes the scheme that Lance Guidry has come up with. But Saturday is a special day as well, Matt, for a little bit of a different reason. They are going to be honoring the 1983 national championship team on the 40th anniversary of the Miracle in Miami. And some of you that aren't 40 years old didn't get to see it. Obviously, just an absolutely magical night in the Orange Bowl when they beat Nebraska for the national title. Howardstellenberger came to Miami in 1979, and he said that he was on a collision course with the national title. I remember sitting in his office, Matt. I was an 18-year-old freshman at Miami in 1979, and I had known Howard from when he was the offensive coordinator at the Miami Dolphins, and I had done some work out at the Dolphin camp and stuff, so I'd gotten to know him a little bit. And when he came to Miami, he called me to his office to get my help with some stuff, and I remember his parting words. I mean, here we are 45 years later, and I remember this conversation. I remember these words as if they were just uttered to me yesterday. He says to me, "We are on a collision course with the national title. The only variable is time." And time ended up being 5 years. Nobody imagined it. And here they were with this magical night. They won the national title. Now they're celebrating the 40th anniversary. So many of those players are going to be back in Hard Rock Stadium on Saturday. But there's going to be a void. And Jim Martz writes a little bit about that. There's going to be a void because Howardstellenberger is not going to be there. But there was an interesting video that I wanted to share with everybody real quick so that Howardstellenberger can be in the forefront of your minds when you go to Hard Rock on Saturday.
The 1983 football season brought the University of Miami its first national championship.
What can you say? What can you say, really, at this stage of the game?
Well, you can talk about fulfillment, and you can talk about opportunity taken advantage of, and those kinds of things, because that's what the kids did. They fulfilled a dream, and they took advantage of an opportunity that comes along maybe once in a lifetime.
Now, let's go to work. Let's go to work.
It's almost impossible for me to tell you how proud I am of my assistant coaches, my football team, and everybody connected with our program for doing in 5 years what a lot of people thought couldn't be done ever.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska. And for Miami, an absolutely miracle year. The dream season as they come back from a man loss opening day to go to 11 straight wins, and in all probability when the votes are in, first ever national championship for the Hurricanes.
I can't say very much except this.
Yeah, hell of a coach.
You've come a long way. Nobody in the world thought you could come this far. Nobody in the wildest dream thought you could do it.
I did.
Except everybody here.
Howardstellenberger, one of the more amazing people you could ever meet in your lifetime. Had a profound impact on me, just the way the presence that he brought every time he walked into a room. Haven't seen too many people like that. I think Don Shula had that. Howard definitely had that. Jimmy eventually developed that, but it's not something you see really often. And I think a lot of people are going to be remembering Howard Schnellenberger Saturday night when they honor that 1983 national championship team that started everything at the U. The U was born that night in the Orange Bowl, thanks to Howard Schnellenberger. So hope everybody enjoys the reunion at the stadium at halftime on Saturday. All right, let me take a moment here, guys. I'm going to talk about GameTime.co. And I don't know if you're stressing. If you don't have tickets yet for the Texas A&M game, maybe you're stressing today about where you're going to sit, what kind of tickets you're going to get. NFL season starting. There's going to be a lot more sporting events that you're going to want to go to, and you probably don't have season tickets for every single team. And you need to figure out how you're going to be able to go watch the Hurricanes, Dolphins, the Heat, the Panthers, even concerts, and how you're going to get your tickets. Well, that's where GameTime.co comes in, and you can forget about planning months in advance to go to a game. GameTime has deals on tickets right up until the day of the event, even a few hours before the event. You can get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And GameTime has a guarantee that you'll always get the best price. If you can find tickets in the same section and the same row for less money after you buy your tickets at GameTime.co, they will refund you 110% of the difference. That's a deal that can't be beat. There's a reason why GameTime is the fastest growing ticket app in the country. You get images of your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what your view of the game is going to look like when you arrive. You can buy your tickets in a matter of seconds. Couple taps of your mouse, and you're all set and in. And the tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. You don't have to go find a printer to print your tickets. They come right to your phone. And in fact, the way the GameTime got started was its founder was his name's Brad Griffith. He was back in 2012 was looking to go to a San Francisco Giants playoff game, and he went online. He tried to buy some tickets. He was scrambling to print them in the basement of a sports bar. The printer didn't work. It was a total mess. And he said, I have to do something about this. And that's when GameTime was born. And now GameTime provides the premier marketplace for last-minute tickets to all the popular events across the country. So download GameTime today. You can download the app from your app store for last-minute tickets with the lowest price guaranteed. If you use the code CANES, CANES, they will give you $20 off your first purchase. That's a pretty darn good deal. Terms apply. Make sure you read the small print, but they will give you $20 off your first purchase.
I can't believe you have to spell out Canes for people. I mean, are you kidding me? What kind of advertisement is this?
I want to make sure they don't enter the code wrong when they go to get their
Kaines.
All right, listen. If you don't do it right and you don't get your $20 off, blame Matt Shodell. All right.
Yes.
So download the app today or go to their website, GameTime.co. We thank them very much, and make sure you use the code CANES.
Let me write it down, Gary. How do you spell it again?
Yeah, CANES. To get your $20 off, man. Wow. It's a great deal without question.
And then after you save all that money, you could buy a pair of Gary's Anatomy pants.
That's right. That's right. But Bird Dogs isn't the sponsor today. Today we're GameTime.co. But yes, you can go to Bird Dogs too and get some Gary's Anatomy.
Gary's Anatomy, the pants that have extra room in the back. Make sure you get them today.
No, Gary's Anatomy is a polo shirt, Matt. It is a polo. It is a polo shirt. All right. As usual, we do have some recruiting coverage on the site today. Make sure you check out Stephen Wagner's story on Armando Blunt. This is a 5-star plus defensive lineman in the 2025 class. and his recruitment is really heating up. He plays for Miami Central. Florida State is working this one hard, and this is going to be a battle for Miami. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I still think the Canes have a little bit of an edge, but Florida State is working it hard, and it's going to be a fight for the next year and a half or so. But you can catch up on everything that Armando Blunt is saying here as his recruitment gathers steam in his junior season. We also have a story on 5-star cornerback Naeem Offord, who's readying for his Miami game day visit this weekend. He is looking forward to seeing the environment, and we will have continued recruiting coverage as the week goes on. A lot of the top prospects in 2024 and 2025 will be at Hard Rock Stadium on Saturday. So that's going to do it for today for Good Morning Canesport. We thank you so much for starting out your morning with us. If you like this show, like our YouTube channel, hit your subscribe button, hit your like button. Helps us with the algorithms at YouTube. And if you're not yet a subscriber to Canesport.com, please take advantage this week of our big game special. You get a full year for $49.99. That's 50% off. That's for first-time subscribers. We think you'll like it. We have a great community of fans, great message board community. We give you 3,000 stories a year.
You know, you should do a promotion. If you get like 50 new subscribers in a certain amount of time, then Matt Trudell has to be positive for one entire show. Then you get the subscribers. This whole thing, half off. How about Matt Trudell? They don't want half off. They want me to be positive. That's what they want.
How about Matt Trudell come to your house and cook you dinner? How about that one? He'll bring you stone crabs. Hey, we only got about a month left. It's coming, baby. Stone crab season.
True.
Stone crab season.
Listen, don't tell people to come to.
Get ready, Matt.
Can you do me a favor and not tell people to come to my house? That's really weird. To like tell people to come to my house.
They're getting ready outside your front porch there.
I still can't believe you convinced your wife to do that.
But anyway, if you're not yet a subscriber to Canesport.com, come on over to the website, join our site. We'll give you about 3,000 articles a year on your Miami Hurricanes to help enhance your fan experience. We'll do shows like this one. We'll interact with you on the message boards. You'll interact with the other fans. It's just a great time every single day, and you won't be sorry if you come on over. So for Matt Trudell, I'm Gary Furman. Thank you once again, everybody, and we will see you once more next time.